Hello, good afternoon, and you're watching Market Fatafat on ET now with me, Vinny Motiwal, along with me, Cheryl D'Souza as well. Cheryl, a very good afternoon. And finally, we are seeing those markets coming back to the green. I think the right day to wear green color for you, right?
Absolutely. A cheerleader for the markets right from the word go. Actually, we need to put it so. But yes, healthy recovery coming in for the markets, as you can see it on your screen. Sharp recovery coming in for the benchmark indices, and not just benchmark indices, you have broader markets. Nifty Bank also moving in tandem with the benchmark indices. The recovery is underway. And remember, some key commentaries also coming in from the NDA Alliance members as well. So that also has kind of brought the cheer back into the markets. The flash on the bottom of your screen, which is saying the sources have told ET now that JDU very shortly will go ahead and submit the letter of support for NDA, basically trying to make sure that all those rumors are kept at bay. So that's what we're picking up from the sources as of now. So we will get you timely updates on what's exactly happening in the political front. Remember that the NDA members are all set to meet. They've gathered in Delhi. They are going to meet, and 5 p.m. is the meeting. And JDU, what we are picking up from sources, the fact that the letter of support for NDA will be submitted shortly. But let's take a look at the markets. Like I said, the banks have also come back and staged a very healthy comeback. So you have a lot of banking names that are among the top gainers on the Nifty as we speak. You have Nifty IndusInd Bank, that's the top gainer on the Nifty. M&M, Hero MotoCorp, Tata Consumer. All of them are seeing good up move. Along to add to that list, HUL as well. When was the last time we actually saw HUL rally as much as 8% or so? But if you talk about the losing end of the market, only a handful of losers today. So it's a very opposite picture today, Vinny, that we are seeing. BPCL, L&T and Power Grid and SBI are the among the other set of losers at this point in time.
Absolutely. Just a few losers making the list today. But let's carry on and talk about all the stocks that have been buzzing in trade on the back of news flows and on the back of technicals. And on the technicals, we're joined by Nagaraj Shetti, while from the research team, we do have Ankita joining in with us. A very good afternoon to both of you all as well. Let me start then with the first stock that we should talk about. And Cheryl did highlight HUL as well as the FMCG pack, because that's the one that's been buzzing in trade. What you're seeing in terms of the Nifty FMCG index, also when you talk about it, that's been the biggest gainer in terms of the single session gain that they've seen in over 4 years. Nifty FMCG index as of now is managing to hold on to 4.5% of gains at 1.5, and it was higher by almost 5%. And look at the companies that are there. Okay, so whether you look at an HUL, Tata Consumers, Britannia, all of them are buzzing in trade. Now specifically for HUL, obviously we did have a note that came in from Jeffries as well, who's talking about how they are seeing that rural play. Now the government currently NDA will come back. So what is it that they believe? That consumption will be a theme that should be working out, and overall that will be the focus of the government as well. HUL was one of the participants who had underperformed specifically in the FMCG pack, and the valuations are near a 5-year average. Similarly, for other FMCG companies also, what comes into play is the rural play. We've seen the commentary coming in from companies in Q4 about how rural has started seeing a recovery. Government will now give a rural push is what is expected. So that is one factor. Sector has underperformed. Other than that, good monsoon, pricing growth is expected to come back for FMCG companies, as well as a benign raw material prices. These are the factors that are supporting the growth for FMCG companies. And today the run up, whether you look at it in any FMCG name in the last couple of days, we've seen that run up coming in. So keeping an eye out on that.
All right, so that is HUL for you running ahead in trade today. Along with that is Marico, just like the way how Vinny was saying, take any name from the FMCG pack and they're rallying. And Nagaraj, that's exactly what we are witnessing when we talk about Marico. But this is not only a one-day phenomenon. Marico has been seeing a good steady up move of late post their earnings. What's your take going ahead for Marico? Do you think now is the time to venture in? And if not, then what sort of a target one should keep in mind?
Hi, good afternoon, Cheryl. To look at the Marico has witnessed a decisive upside breakout of the consolidation pattern of the last few weeks in today's session, and overall chart pattern is looking positive. The stock has moved above the important hurdles and expected to move towards the new resistance of around 720, 725 levels in the next few weeks.
Okay, keeping an eye out on those levels of 725 in the next few weeks is what we could expect from Marico. That's the word coming in from Nagaraj. But Cheryl has picked out one of those names which are losing in trade, right? What's the reason for that?
And it's not a stock that usually you talk or link with the losers, and that has to be L&T. Today, definitely, it is under immense pressure in trade today. L&T is among the top 2 losers on the Nifty, while the rest of the market is actually bucking our trend. At earlier or yesterday, it actually fell as much as 7% on an intraday basis. If you look at why this counter is actually falling in trade today, is the fact that CLSA has replaced the company, that is L&T, in its portfolio with HCL Tech in the India focused portfolio, and this after the surprise election results, or rather the slimmer majority coming in for BJP and his alliance. That's one of the reasons why what they're saying is that they may lead to a priority tilt away from infra-linked growth to consumer-facing welfare policies, and that's one of the reasons why they have actually replaced L&T with HCL Tech in their India-focused portfolio. So that's one of the reasons why, or main reason why L&T is under pressure in trade today.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on L&T, but let's move on and talk about Anand Rathi then, Ankita. Why is this one in focus? What's the news flow for Anand Rathi?
Well, yes, Anand Rathi is in focus today. In fact, this stock was up for almost 4% in the early trade today, but it managed to cool off those gains. But the news flow that's coming in on Anand Rathi is that they have announced a buyback of up to 3.7 lakh shares at the price of 4,450 for a total amount of 164, almost 165 crores. And on the back of this buyback, Anand Rathi is soaring away in trade, was trading with gains of 4.8, 4.9 plus percent, but right now it's trading with gains of 4.3%.
All right, so that is all about Anand Rathi. Let's talk about BSE then. Nagaraj, what's your take coming in on BSE on the charts? How is it looking now? Do you think it's a well placed for a fresh bet now?
Currently showing consolidation, the overall chart pattern is indicating that BSE is likely to move up, surge up further above the consolidation. The overall long-term chart pattern remains intact. We observe the higher tops and bottoms, and this stock is well above the 200-day EMA around 2200 odd levels. So overall chart pattern for a smaller to larger time is looking positive for me, and I'm expecting this upside momentum, which has started from the lower level after a small dip, is likely to continue. And the next overhead resistance to be watched for this stock is around 3,000 rupees.
Sure, keeping an eye out on BSE and the levels over there that Nagaraj is mentioning. Let's move on to the next stock, and we should talk about Angel One. That's the one that's in focus after they have come out with their monthly update. When you're looking at it for Angel One, what is it in terms of the update? On a month-on-month basis, the company said that the company's client base has increased to 23.83 million in the month of May, as against just 22.9 million in the previous month. So that's April. Now, when you're looking at it, the same was also was at 14.59 million in the corresponding year last year. So, considerable jump in terms of the numbers of users that have actually come out for Angel One in the last 1 year. The growth is around 63% when you compare it on a year-on-year basis. So, remarkable growth in terms of the client base, and that is what is keeping the stock abuzz as well. When you're looking at it also in terms of the number of orders during the month of May, that increased to 158.72 million, and that was just against 90.6 million in the same period last year. So that's last May. So interesting numbers coming from Angel One, and that is why the stock is buzzing away in trade, up 4% as of now.
All right, so that's all about Angel One. On that note, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Market Fatafat. But here's a quick programming note for all of our viewers out there, because come to 15 p.m. you will have a big exclusive voice joining us on ET Now, and that is Chris Wood of Jefferies. He will actually outline what next for the Indian markets, what sort of a portfolio are they looking at, given the fact that we are now done with the Lok Sabha election. So how the portfolio changes is going to look like, what's next for the market, and how should you brace for the short to long term in India. So don't miss that exclusive interview with Christopher Wood of Jefferies coming up at 2:15 p.m. only on ET Now. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET now. And let's talk about PSU counter, RCF. Nagaraj, what's your take coming in on this particular counter? We've seen a sharp correction in the PSU stocks over the last few trading sessions. In fact, yesterday was the maximum downtick we've seen in these PSU counters. But do you think now it's come at an attractive level worth a buy?
Yeah, it looks like attractive for a short-term upside surge. Recently, after a sharp downward correction, it seems to have formed a bottom reversal somewhere around 130 to 133 levels, two identical lows in the last couple of sessions, is indicating that the stock is now ready to move up further. It has taken a support. In fact, it has violated the support of 200-day EMA and bounced back sharply after taking it. And I'm expecting this upside momentum, which has started from today onwards, is likely to continue at least for some more sessions. And the next upside levels to be watched, which is the next set of resistance to be watched for the stock, is around 156 to 158 levels.
Okay, surely for the short term, one could keep an eye out on the levels of 156 to 158 for RCF, and this bounce back, what Nagaraj believes is something that could continue right now in the short term. But let's move on, talk about Nuvama Wealth then. And Ankita, why is this in focus today, and what is the reason for it being a buzz?
Well, yes, Nuvama Wealth is in focus today. In fact, Nuvama Wealth and Anand Rathi, like I mentioned earlier on, these are one of the top gainers in the mid-cap space, and it's trading with gains of over 4%. And on the fact that the company has incorporated a wholly owned subsidiary with the name of Nuvama Wealth Management Limited in Dubai. Now, this Nuvama DIFC's vision is to provide wealth management solutions to high net worth individuals, corporate entities, and family office segments, which fall under the category of professional clients. And on the back of this incorporation of new subsidiary, Nuvama Wealth is an up and away in trade, trading with gains of over 4%.
All right, Nagaraj, another PSU counter actually making it to your list. Do you think that the PSU as a whole has fallen to an attractive level that it warrants a relook, and HUDCO especially? What do you say?
Yeah, HUDCO is currently showing some promising pattern building up at the lower levels, around 210 odd levels. So we have seen some sharp decline from 300 to 290 points decline. Actually, the stock is in a long-term uptrend, and whatever the decline has happened in the past has taken away by the bulls, and the stock has surged up higher levels. The currently similar kind of a pattern is unfolding. The stock is forming some important bottom reversal pattern, and I'm expecting this upside momentum which has started today is likely to continue. The near-term resistance to be watched is around 255.
Keeping an eye out on that. Let's move on to the next stock, and that's IIFL Finance that we're keeping an eye out on. There was a special audit that was going on IIFL Finance by the RBI. Now, in an update yesterday, IIFL Finance said that yes, this has been concluded by the RBI, the special audit that was underway. And yes, the findings are still something that one is keeping an eye out on. But today, the stock is surely recovered from the day's lowest point, up 5 to 6% in trade as of now. Near the day's highest point, that's IIFL Finance for y'all. We'll wait out for, what are these conclusions that have come in, but as of now, surely a positive up move for this one.
All right, let's shift focus then, and let's talk about two counters, Container Corp as well as Shipping Corporation of India. Both of them are a buzz in today's trading session, and also no doubt they're off the day's highest point. But the reason why both of them are seeing a good up move is because they've signed an MOU with the Shipping Corporation of India, and the partnership aims to leverage each company's infrastructure and expertise for seamless, cost-effective logistics across all transport modes. And that's the reason why you have Container Corp as well as Shipping Corporation of India buzz in trade today. And a short while ago, we actually got a wire agency news quoting sources that the government is planning to set up a new shipping company to expand the fleet by about at least 1,000 ships in the next decade. And this in order to actually go ahead and tap the big market out there. So that's one of the reasons why you have all of these counters in focus today.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on them. But let's move on and shift focus to Asian Paints. Nagaraj, this one has clearly not performed, so far when you look at it in the last 1 year. So now, given that, the FMCG side, the consumption side, that's starting to pick up and see an uptrend. Asian Paints, what's the target that we are keeping an eye out on, and will that also see an uptrend?
Yeah, rightly said. It was moving in a larger consolidation. In between, it has made an attempt of downside breakout. It failed to show the weakness on the downside breakout and bounced back sharply. Overall chart pattern is looking positive. Currently placed at the hurdle of around 3,000 odd level, which is 200-day EMA. I'm expecting this consolidation pattern is eventually taken out on the upper side, and this stock would reach towards the next overhead resistance of around 3120, 3130 levels in the next 1 month.
Okay. Surely keeping an eye out on that one, but let's move on to the next stock that we are talking about. And Ankita, we do have Tata Motors that's in focus, and yes, there is some update that has come in on Tata Motors. What's the update there, as well as I believe the JLR numbers are also pouring in?
Well, yes, Vinny, on Tata Motors, there is an update that they have approved the demerger and restructuring of Tata Motors, and in two separate as two separately listed companies. Now the commercial vehicles business and the passenger vehicle business that we have been talking about the demerger for a while, and the proposed merger of Tata Motors Finance Limited, a step down subsidiary of the Tata Motors Limited, is likely to happen with Tata Capital Limited. So that's the news coming in on on the demerger front. But JLR UK sales numbers have also trickled in, and the sales are up 29% at 6,093 units versus 4,732 units on a year-on-year basis. So that's an uptick of 29%. In the back of that, we can see an uptick, that surge coming in on Tata Motors. It's trading with gains of almost 3% in trade today.
Absolutely trading with gains of 3%, and like Ankita was saying, surely that jump up in JLR sales in the UK is something that we're keeping an eye out on. Let's move on to the next stock that we should talk about is IGL. Now we have a brokerage note that has come in from Axis Capital, where they're saying that they believe they see a risk for IGL, especially in terms of the CNG volumes in the near term, given that there's a moderation in CNG vehicle registration in Delhi and NCR region, and specifically the last few months, if you've noticed. Now, after a stellar print of 13,000 registrations in Jan 2024, led by the CNG model launches by OEMs, April to May 2024, that averaged at around 10,000 units. So that is just a 6% uptick YOY, and despite that strong 13% growth in terms of registration for FY24, IGL's CNG volume growth was weak at only 4%. So because of that, and due to the ongoing electrification by the Delhi Transport Corporation in terms of the buses, they believe that there's a bit of a risk that they are seeing there, and that is why we're seeing IGL today at focus. But yes, just trading with gains of almost 1%. Keep an eye out on those volume numbers. They are expected to be flat, is what Axis Capital is highlighting. In Q1 FY25 is the expectation.
All right, let's shift focus then. And Nagaraj, let's talk about Campus Activewear. How is this one looking on the charts to you now?
Yes, Campus, after a small decline, it has bounced back, and overall chart pattern is looking positive. Higher tops and higher bottoms is on the cards as per the daily time frame. It has just closed above the 200-day EMA, which was the important resistance earlier. Now it has closed above the support, and overall chart pattern is looking positive. I think this up move is likely to continue. Around 300 is going to be the next resistance to watch for the stocks in the next 1 or 2 weeks.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on Campus Activewear over there. But let's move on and talk about the next stock, and that is Jindal Stainless. Ankita, why is this in focus?
Well, yes, Jindal Stainless is in focus because of the acquisition of 54% of equity stake in Chromeni Steel Private Limited, and through the acquisition of 100% equity stake of the Evergrande International Investment (PTE). And on the back of this acquisition, Jindal Steel is in focus today. In fact, it was trading higher in the morning session, has given up those gains. Currently, it's trading with gains of 1.3%.
All right, so that is Jindal Stainless that is in focus in today's trading session. But TCS and Nagaraj, how is this one looking to you on the charts right now?
Yeah, I'm expecting IT sector to rebound. The sufficient correction has happened for the short term, and especially this TCS has yesterday showed some promising pattern by bouncing back from the support of around 3,600 levels. Currently showing consolidation, slightly moving up from the lower levels, and placed at the hurdle of 200-day EMA. I'm expecting this resistance to be taken out on the upper side. So I'm expecting up move in the TCS in the next 1 to 2 weeks at least, and 3850, 3875 is going to be the next resistance for the stocks for the short term.
Okay, keeping an eye out on TCS there. That was stock number 17. But on that note, we're going to sip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more stocks after the break.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.